Today we're going to talk about an educated Dusty who comes from a two-parent household that everyone touts is the ideal place to come from if you want to raise perfect children who are... So you typically have the manosphere and the incels all over the internet talking about, oh, if you came from a single-parent household, you're most likely to be in prison, or like only the kids who are, committing crimes, they must have came from a single-parent household. That's what you always have to hear, right? Well, such is not the case for this story. So apparently this guy was raised by two parents. You'll see on their Twitter page that they were very into the community. His father is a coach at Texas A&M, where he actually just recently got a job there as well. And his mother does like a lot of social work in the community. He has a sister, so it looks like it's just him and his sister. And based on their Twitter accounts, it seems like everything is just peaches and cream. Everyone is being raised properly, went to the right schools, has the nepotism intact, that's giving him lots of opportunities to get great jobs and play football, and just all the trappings of a great life, of a great childhood, of everything that everyone says. If you give your children all these things, they're going to grow up to be successful and perfect and have no criminal records or any of those issues. So pretty much everyone always says, if a child, like whenever anything goes wrong, they blame the parents. They assume that it's low income parents or it is single mothers who are raising these children to have these criminal records. Well, I'm here to say that I recently feel like it's not about the parents so much as it is. Sometimes it is just really the child determined to ruin their lives, not making good choices. It doesn't matter how the parents raised them, right? So this story is about an ex-football star son of an ex-Texas A&M coach. And again, like I said, his mother, I believe, is a social worker, or she at least does a lot of great social work in the community. His sister is on the basketball team, and I'll have to give you all an update on what school she plays for. But as of right now, he was recently arrested he was arrested last year. His name is Blaise Taylor. And he was arrested last year for the poisoning of his girlfriend and his unborn child. So let's get right into the story. So Blaise Taylor, an analyst at Texas A&M and son of the school's associate head coach, was arrested in Utah on Thursday after being indicted in the 2023 deaths of his girlfriend and her unborn child, according to Nashville police. A release from the National Police Department said. Taylor, a former college football star at Arkansas State, was indicted Wednesday by a Nashville grand jury and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for the poisoning deaths of his girlfriend and her 5-month-old fetus, which Taylor is alleged to have fathered. So Taylor was held without bail Friday night at the Cache County Jail in Logan, Utah. Jail records show. And as of today, this article is actually published March 17, 2024. So this is very recent that he has recently been arrested and brought to the Nashville County Jail, and they still have to actually extradite him where the crime actually occurred and go from there. So an attorney for Taylor was not listed in the jail records. So it says here that his girlfriend was rushed to a hospital. So Taylor is alleged to have poisoned Benning without her knowledge while visiting her Lebanon Pike apartment on the night of February 25th. Police said she was rushed to a hospital that night after Taylor called 911 and told them Benning appeared to be having an allergic reaction, according to police. Her unborn baby died 2 days later, and Benning died on March 6, 2023, police said. Authorities said they were not able to interview her before her death. Police did not release any details on the alleged poisoning. Months of investigation led by Homicide Unit Detective Adam Reese and involving scientists from crime laboratories and doctors from the medical examiner's office led to Wednesday's return of the murder indictment against Taylor, the release said. Shortly after the details, Taylor moved to Utah, according to police. Nashville police say they are working with Utah authorities to arrange his return. So Taylor was recently named an analyst at Texas A&M, but the school announced Friday night that he was placed on suspension pending an investigation. He was a defensive back at Arkansas State from 2014 to 2017, starting all 4 years while his father, Trooper Taylor, was a defensive backs coach at the school. Trooper Taylor is now an associate head coach on offense and running backs coach at Texas A&M. He has been a coach for over 30 years with stints at Baylor, New Mexico, Tulane, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, and Auburn during its 2010 BCS National Championship run. Our thoughts are with all those affected by this heartbreaking situation, including the family and friends of the victim. It's essential to allow the courts to handle the situation with the diligence and fairness it demands, Texas A&M head football coach Mike Elko said in a statement released by the university. We also would like to extend our prayers and support to Coach Trooper Taylor, Dr. Evelyn Taylor, and their family as they navigate this extremely difficult time. So as you can see, people are definitely praying for the parents, because a lot of times these things happen and it doesn't, you could have the best of intentions. You could have been the best parent you possibly can, and there is no such thing as a perfect parent. And you'll still have children who will go and murder their girlfriends and unborn children. So, and this happens a lot more than people would like to admit. I'm going to start highlighting these stories as well, because a lot of dusty terrorists of society who come from a two-parent household. It is not always a single mother that is to blame for, or I wouldn't even say to blame, because a lot of single mothers are doing excellent job. We're working really hard to raise great kids. And people tend to forget that if you are a single mom, someone made you that way. You didn't have the baby by yourself unless you chose to, with IVF or IUI or something along those lines. But women do not choose to be single moms until they feel like they don't have a choice left but to be a single mother, because they are in bad relationships for various reasons of various types or various kinds. So I have a video here that I want to show you all, just kind of like looking into the background of Blaise Taylor, so you all can see more or less like what his upbringing or what his family is like. I can give you all a little bit more detail based on what I see on Twitter, the pictures that have been posted and posts that have been posted, to show you what his family is like for the most part, and just to show again and highlight that this young man seems to have come from a quote-unquote good background and what they would call quote-unquote good stock, and this should not have been his story, but yet here we are. So here we are looking at Blaise Taylor's Twitter page and just going through his post and just getting more of a background of his family and what his life was like before he poisoned his girlfriend and his unborn child. So you see here, he has a lot of posts. He has something about Coretta Scott King, which I actually thought was ironic when I'm thinking about Jonathan Majors bringing up Coretta Scott King over and over, as he's using it in an awful context. Here are his parents, Dr. Evie Taylor, with her husband, Trooper Taylor, sorry. So really not here for all his sports posts. So here we have his post. This is my little brother here, Coach Troop. You raised me at 18 as my position coach, and now your sons share a special bond. So, I'm not sure what he means by sons with an S, but okay. I'm so confused by this whole post. He's saying my little brother here raised him, so your little brother raised you, and now your sons share a special bond. What sons? All right, let's continue. So like I said, people will show you what they want you to know on social media. So I don't know if he has a whole another other child out there. I have no clue. I guess we're going to find out, because there were some other weird posts that I saw. So here's his mom, Dr. Evie Taylor. So she has kind of like pretty much the same what her son has, because they seem to be doing a lot of promotion of different things she's doing in the community, which is not, understandable, nothing wrong with that. She's talking about how she's so proud of her kids. This was on the 2022. He did not murder his girlfriend and unborn child until 2023. Here it says Blaise Taylor committed to serving others. So they have a very cookie cutter lifestyle that they're presenting here. And someone says serving what? Poison. Someone else says this didn't age well. Blood all over your family. Delete all accounts and go away. So I'm definitely going to be in the comments because I know people are going to be coming for their necks. Here it says AKA Daddy's little girl. Okay. And their birthdays, his birthday and his sister's birthday are like within days of each other, which is very interesting. This one I found to be very interesting. This post here says, so proud of the young man you have become. Thanks for always protecting our last name. God bless. Y'all know I'm about to jump right in those comments. This was a happy birthday post. And he says, at Dr. Evie Taylor, at the Star Taylor, and at the power of 1 or 2. So I thought that was interesting for him to say that. So they really are like really promoting, we have a perfect family and our son is protecting our family name and he's just doing so wonderfully, and basically like a lot of bragging, I guess you could say. I would say bragging slash flex, slash flexing, whatever you want to call it, is what I'm seeing here. And so I thought this was very interesting, given what has happened and what has transpired since this post that came March 22nd, because a year later he would be considered a murderer. So they have some pictures here, and I actually thought this was interesting because this daughter is saying that the father actually cropped out one of another person that was in the picture. So it was a little confusing, and this is what happens when people are like pretending to have a certain, like, this perfect life, because things don't really be adding up. And it's like, wait, do you have another son? Do you not have another son? Like, it's very, very confusing because they're not really showing you everything, because they want to portray as though like, oh, our lives are so perfect, and they really aren't always. That's not always the case. And it's usually not the case. So we see DB Coach Blaise is replying to Coach Troop and Star Taylor and 2 others. So it looks like Star could be on here still, but maybe she's under a different name, because now it is highlighted again and it's got an underscore behind the name. So she's here, but she's still on Twitter, but she's under like another name. So it says in at DB Coach Blaise, changed a lot of lives for sure, more than even you knew, Coach Troop. Well, assuming you weren't aware that your POS son killed his daughter, your granddaughter, as well as his girlfriend, I pray he rots in hell. So this sounds like someone who might have a bit of insider info, because I don't remember it being disclosed that the unborn child was a girl. Okay, so here Trooper is bragging again. That was this year, March 1st. This is actually before the news came out, or when I saw the article was published, that Blaise Taylor was indicted for murder of his unborn child and his girlfriend. Sorry. So here it says, so proud of my 2 kids, Star Taylor, at Star Taylor _ and at DB Coach Blaise, for the lives they continue to change through their nonprofit at the power of 1 or 2. It only takes 1 or 2 people to make a difference. Hashtag gig 'em. So I don't know if you meant to say get 'em or what, but that's what you have there. And that was the person's, Sophie Phil's, response to him. And I am so proud. So this is her son. She's saying like, greatest son ever, with a heart. I am so proud of you and all that you have accomplished. Hopefully this is the last birthday you ever have to spend in quarantine. At Blaise Taylor 1. And then she's sharing some photos of him from babyhood to now. And it's just sad because you can be proud of your children And it's sad when they embarrass you and they do things that you just did not see coming because you did not raise them to behave such a way. And it's funny, all the gaslighting all over the internet where people pretend like they were perfect as kids. And it's like, nobody's perfect. And most American kids are not good like that. But I mean, they're good, but they're nowhere near perfect. Okay. And so for people to act like, oh, if something's wrong with the child, it's a single parent household issue, is usually just that child being that child. It has nothing to do with, the mother raising that child by herself. As you can see with this story here. These parents seem to be very proud of their children, very involved in their children's lives, and yet their son goes and pulls this crap. So here the mother is saying, as a mother who filed a lawsuit against my son's school due to hair discrimination, I really appreciate people using their platform to support Andre Arnold. We must take a stance against this systemic racism in our schools. At NAACP, hashtag use your voice, hashtag stand for DeAndre, and hashtag power of one or two. Okay. So still promoting this. Then you see a lot of social work that the mom does, which is awesome, but really just even more angering, because it's like, I'm out here trying to save the world, trying to better the Black community and, help children out. And my son is over here murdering people. Like, it's devastating. I don't want to imagine that. And that's just something you don't have control of as a mother. So for people to blame single mothers is very unfair, especially when they don't talk about the fathers being in the home. Like no one talks about the fathers not being there, being absent. No one has that conversation. It's just the mothers are the worst, and this is why your child turned out to be a hot mess. But then you have all these stories of children who had the parent there, and they still did something that was just unspeakable, like these awful crimes. Okay? They do a lot of work. I mean, they do a lot of work as a family. A lot of work. Okay. Good looking family. Okay, they photograph well, and they probably never thought in a million years their son would throw his whole life away just because he didn't want to be a father.
To your top 4 at 4, a former football star arrested in Utah on first-degree murder charges.
27-year-old Blaise Taylor is accused of poisoning his girlfriend, killing her and their unborn child. Taylor was a standout player at Arkansas State and later played in the NFL before going into coaching. He'd been on the staffs of several football programs, including Utah State University, and as of today, he was listed as a senior athletic assistant at Texas A&M, where his father was recently hired as an assistant coach.
Former Tennessee Titans scout is accused of poisoning his pregnant girlfriend. 27-year-old Blaise Taylor is awaiting extradition to Nashville to face charges on 2 counts of murder. Jade Benning's unborn child died 2 days after she was hospitalized last February, and Jade died on her 25th birthday last March, just a few days later. As News 2's Kenley Hargett reports, Benning's friends are remembering her 1 year after her death.
To know her was to love her, and we're also glad that she was a part of our life.
25-year-old Jade Benning remains on the hearts and minds of so many people. Benning served as a chef at Ernest Bar and Hideaway in Nashville's Wedgwood, Houston neighborhood, where she quickly developed a reputation for desserts.
A great dessert maker, so she would make creme brulee, and that is something that we refuse to take off of the menu because that was Jade's dish and we have to have it.
Her manager and close friend Lauren Weber says Benning would put her all into her dishes and even more into the people she loved. Weber shares a birthday only a few days from Benning, and to honor her memory, she has her birthday tattooed on her arm.
Birthday and mine are 3 days apart, so we were both Pisces girls, so we always hung out.
And inside the restaurant are two memorials of Benning that helps her restaurant family find comfort and peace.
We have a small picture of her that's right outside of the kitchen where she worked, and we light a candle for her every day. And then the employees that are here with me at the end of the night, we actually all blow it out together and tell her good night. We've got a picture by the server station where we see her all the time, and then we all have these bracelets that we wear as well.
Saying goodbye to Jade was hard, but it's remembering all of the happy times she brought to others that helps many who loved her find peace.
She was the glue that basically held all of us together.
Reporting in Nashville, Kenley Hargett, News 2.
U.S. Marshals took Taylor into custody near Salt Lake City. He had recently been on the football staff of Utah State University. Investigators say Taylor called 911 the night of February 25th of 2023 to report Jade Benning having an allergic reaction.
Man accused of killing his girlfriend and unborn baby by poisoning was arrested. Metro Police say 27-year-old Blaise Taylor was arrested in Utah last night. It was March 6th last year. Investigators say Jade Benning died at Vanderbilt Medical Center February 25th that same year. She had been rushed to the hospital after Taylor told police the woman was having some sort of allergic reaction. Well, after months of investigation, it was determined that Taylor poisoned Benning while visiting her apartment. Taylor reportedly then moving to Utah after Benning and the unborn child died. He is now charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and will be brought back to Nashville.
Not sure if it's just me, but I thought that it said that he actually moved from Nashville to Utah before the victims died. So I'm not sure why the newscaster said that he moved after they died.
We have been digging into the background of this man in this case, Blaise Taylor. He played college football at Arkansas State University from 2014 to 2017. After his playing career, the Tennessee Titans had employed Taylor as a scout for 4 years, according to his LinkedIn profile. In 2023, Taylor took a job as a senior defensive analyst at Utah State University. The school confirming to News 2 Taylor left Utah State on March 1st to take another job at another school. We have reached out to that new school for comment. We will continue to follow this story as it develops through the day.
He literally threw his whole life away because he didn't want to be a dad. As a mom and dad, and just his entire family, that has to be devastating. That has to be devastating. Because it's like, we did not raise you like this. We tried to do the best we could. And there's always going to be someone like, well, you spoiled him, or you gave him too much, or you didn't give him enough. It's like, give me a break. Amazing kids, if they have great character, they're just going to be amazing because they have good character. Like, they have great character. It doesn't matter if they came from poverty or if they were raised to be wealthy, raised in wealth and money and status. It doesn't matter. Like, it really just comes down to who they are as a person and what are their morals and values. And yeah, that's really all it comes down to. So here she's saying, so proud of Blaise Taylor, 1, for graduating magna cum laude in 2.5 years while playing football. Hashtag Taylor May. Hashtag Proud Ma. So another story we had here was a Texas A&M football staffer accused of fatally poisoning pregnant girlfriend. Police alleged that Blaise Taylor poisoned a pregnant Jade Benning in 2023 and charged him with murder. March 17, 2024. It says the son of a Texas A&M University football coach was reportedly arrested Thursday on suspicion of fatally poisoning his pregnant girlfriend last year. Blaise Taylor, age 27, son of running backs coach Troop Taylor, faces 2 charges of first-degree murder, Cole Thompson reported for Sports Illustrated. Blaise Taylor was a star defensive back and punt returner for Arkansas State University from 2014 to 2017. He was working in the Tennessee Titans scouting department at the time that his girlfriend, Jade Benning, died. According to a statement from the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department, Benning was rushed to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center on February 25, 2023 for what Taylor described to 911 operators as an allergic reaction. She was 5 months pregnant at the time, and it's believed that Taylor was the father. The unborn baby died 2 days after the hospitalization, and Benning died on her 25th birthday, March 6th. Detectives launched an investigation, but Taylor was not able to be interviewed before her death, Nashville authorities said in their news release. Taylor subsequently relocated to work as a defensive analyst for Utah State University per SI, or Sports Illustrated. And now, after a months-long investigation, Nashville police claim they have evidence from crime laboratories and the medical examiner's office that Taylor poisoned Benning while visiting her apartment the night of February 25th. A grand jury indicted Taylor, and U.S. Marshals arrested him in Logan, Utah, before taking him back to Tennessee. Blaise Taylor had just recently been hired for an analyst job at Texas A&M, joining his father on staff, but university officials announced Friday that Blaise was placed on suspension pending an investigation. CNN journalist Jamil Lynch wrote, "Our thoughts are with all those affected by this heartbreaking situation, including the family and friends of the victim. It's essential to allow the courts to handle this situation with the diligence and fairness it demands," Texas A&M head football coach Mike Elko said in a statement. "We also would like to extend our prayers and support to Coach Trooper Taylor, Dr. Evelyn Taylor, and their family as they navigate this extremely difficult time." So I hope people remember single mothers when our kids do things like this and have as much compassion and empathy for us when or if our children make these types of choices in life that are very negative and can result in crime, into being a crime, and them going to prison, and it being a federal crime or a major crime, like not a misdemeanor but a whole felony. I would love to see the same kind of compassion and empathy for single black mothers, and just single mothers all around, but especially single black mothers, because I feel like we are unfairly judged and blamed and vilified when our children go astray. And it is just always automatically assumed that we are in the club twerking somewhere, or on drugs, or paying attention to some random raggedy boyfriend or something, and that we're not raising our children. And when people are like this family here, the Taylors, they're just given the benefit of the doubt because they look like this cookie cutter family online. So everyone's just assuming, oh, they're the perfect parents, and the sister is, everyone's perfect. But were they really perfect? Like, do we really have to, can we really just go in and parse through all the warm and fuzzy photos that you see on Twitter everywhere and really just discuss, like, is this really this perfect family? Is there such thing as a perfect family? And the answer, I can tell you, is absolutely not. The answer is no. So why do people who come from two-parent households get so much compassion and empathy, and people just already assume, like, oh, they were these wonderful, perfect parents, and the single mother who became a single mom for whatever reason, we don't know why she's a single mom, but we're just assuming that she makes bad choices. Not that her ex was abusive, or that she had to get a divorce, he left her to go be with the secretary, or whatever the reason is. We're just all going to assume that the single mother, especially if she's a black single mom, has raised this riffraff, has raised a child into being this irresponsible, felonious adult, and that just is not always the case. There are times where parents are busting their asses. And then also, another thing that people don't think about is that a lot of times, just like with married couples, the parents are dual parent. It is a two-parent family unit, even if we're not living in the same house. A lot of wealthy people don't live in the same house. A lot of married people are not really functioning as a married couple, but yet they're still sitting in as they still kind of can say, oh, we're both in this house, but he may be in the bedroom, she may be in another room. Their marriage doesn't necessarily have to be healthy. He could be stepping out, she could be stepping, they could both be stepping out, or he may be staying in this house, she's staying over in that house, but they're still married on paper. So there's a lot of different nuances to this, where we have to get away from shaming parents who are the main ones who are the most vulnerable already in society, and still doing the tough work of trying to raise children to be amazing human beings and an amazing asset for America and America's culture and society and economy, job, workforce, military, so on and so forth. And it would actually benefit Americans more if they supported single parents, especially black single mothers, because we are so oppressed compared to other groups. It would actually benefit you more. You would probably see less crime and a lot of less stories like this, probably even, if there wasn't always so much shame and lack of support for people who need it the most. So let me know what you all think about this crime story. It doesn't seem like he's been actually found guilty yet, but let's let the facts play out. The story is still developing, and I will try to keep you all updated on this information. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to my new subscribers. I appreciate you. Thank you to my day ones and all my subscribers for watching and supporting me thus far. And I will continue to get this content out to you all to inform you and educate you and show you what is happening in our society. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Single mothers are literally the worst parents on the entire planet. Statistics back that. Over 70% of young men that grow up under a single mother in particular, end up in prison.
So everything that this man just said is a complete lie, which means it must be time for another round of These Aren't Facts. They're just things you made up to justify your feelings. Now, the often quoted statistic is that 70% of inmates come from single mother homes, which would represent about 840,000 of the 1.2 million people incarcerated, according to the Department of Justice in 2021. Meanwhile, 70% of the estimated 19 million children raised in single mother homes would be about 13 million. And I'm not sure how Aaron's defining young men, but even if we adjust for that, it would still be an absurdly wrong number. Okay, so Aaron misspoke, but what about that 70% statistic? That has to be correct, right? After all, it's repeated everywhere.
Women gotta hold themselves accountable because 70% of boys in jail are raised by single mothers.
Single sisters are to blame for the high population of men in jail.
70% of youth in juvenile delinquent facilities come from single mother homes.
80% of all youths in prison are from single mother homes.
If you compare a single mother, is 80% chance of going to jail.
80% of all prison inmates came from single mothers' homes.
I did the research. 80% of black males who are in jail come from single mother homes.
We are filling up these prisons with fatherless kids.
Okay, so we're not sure if it's 70% or if it's 80%, if it represents all prisoners, just young men, or only black men. But what we do know is that prisons are full of young men from single mother homes, and the women folk are to blame for it. And this statistic has been copy-pasted across every website for fathers' rights groups and family law attorneys representing fathers. But notice that it's different. It's 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions, not prisoners. But even that claim is wrong. It comes from this 1987 report from the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And it says across all juveniles in state-operated institutions, 70% of them did not come from a two-parent home, which includes single mothers, but also single fathers, homes where the child was raised by other relatives, and foster homes. In fact, single parents were only 54%, and of that, 48.4% were single mother households. But it's important to remember that this is 35-year-old data about juveniles in juvenile institutions, not prisons. And they only surveyed about 10% of juveniles, so while it might be indicative, it should not be taken as a concrete fact. Now, the statistics on inmates are actually fairly easy to get, thanks again to the Bureau of Justice Statistics. And in 2002, they showed that the number of offenders from single mother homes actually dropped from 41% to 39%, and went back up in 2016 to 41.1%. Meanwhile, homes with a father represented 40.7% of all offenders. It's almost neck and neck. So while prisons may not be overflowing with offenders from single mother households, it does represent an elevated risk, about 2 to 3 times. And since your lifetime incarceration risk is about 5%, what that means is instead of 70% of children raised by single mothers going to jail, actually well over 80% will avoid ever seeing a jail. Okay, but that still means that single mums offer the worst outcomes, right? Well, studies have also looked at incarceration rates for different household types. And they did again find that 3 times risk for single mother households. And you can see that when we adjust for social, educational, and economic disparity, that risk drops to about 2 times. But before single fathers start to crow about this, look what happens when dad gets a new partner. They offer some of the worst outcomes. And when we remove the economic advantage that single fathers often have, you can see that single fathers with a new partner offer the worst outcomes, beating out single mothers with stepfathers, and even children not raised by either parent. So if we really care about childhood outcomes, we need to be teaching men not to ignore their children the minute a new woman shows up. And even if we just want to focus on improving the outcomes for single mother households, then we need to talk about what causes them, which is absentee fathers. Because absentee fathers are a huge problem. Anywhere between a fifth and a quarter of all fathers have no contact with any of their children. And this is often framed as, oh, my baby mother or my B of an ex-wife doesn't let me see the kids. But that's also not true, because when we look only at men with high levels of custody, 40%, almost half of those who start out with weekly contact, virtually abandon their children within 8 years, having little to no contact. And studies have looked into the risk factors for father abandonment and found that once again top of the list is fathers who have a new partner. And if they have a child with that new partner, then virtually all of them abandon their previous children. So if we really care about improving childhood outcomes, then we need to stop talking about single mothers and instead talk about the disgusting attitudes and behaviors in fathers that treat their children as disposable.